Personal Story segment tonight, reaction to the domestic terror attack in Dallas. With us now here in New York City, Rudy Giuliani, Mayor of New York City. I wanted you tonight, I asked specifically for you, because you oversaw a police department of more than 40,000 individuals.
Correct.
Under a few police chiefs.
Right.
All right? You had to know that within a body of an organization that big, you're going to have some racists. They're going to be there. All right?
We did.
What was the policy? What policy did you and the city impose to keep the racism at a minimum?
We did everything we could to train our police officers in treating everyone fairly. Police Commissioner Safer instituted a policy called courtesy, professionalism, and respect. You'll see it on every police car in New York City. That was a specific course they were taught in the police academy and then retaught every 2 years. We also worked very hard, and this harkened back to Mayor Koch, Mayor Dinkins, me, and Mayor Bloomberg, to make our police force a non-majority white police force, which it is.
Yeah, you recruited minorities. But in the nation's largest city, and I covered it as a local reporter, we have very few of these incidents. We had one where a guy was killed last year, but not so many. There's not a lot of racial tension.
I had three. And
three in how many years?
3 in 8 years. Three
years.
Bad ones. One was an absolutely horrible...
Abner Louima?
Yes, absolutely horrible situation in which the police officer used baton and put it up the backside.
Okay, right.
That police officer is in jail for 25 years. That case was prosecuted, by the way, by Loretta Lynch and investigated by Howard Safer, our police commissioner.
Mm-hmm.
He suspended all the police officers in that precinct, and he got 5 of them to testify. We had a second one, and that is one in which the 4 police officers were found not guilty by a jury, including 4 blacks. And we had a third one in which there was a tape recording, thank goodness, of the police officer almost being killed by the suspect, and therefore it was a justifiable shooting. So I had a bad one that went to a jury, and the jury found the police officers not guilty, with 4 blacks on the jury.
Right.
And then I had one that was totally justified.
Okay.
So I know you can have
supervision.
In all of these different situations, you can have a different set of facts, and you don't draw your conclusions until all the facts
Until the facts are in, and that's, as mentioned, that's why I didn't cover the Minnesota thing right away. Now, when you see something like Minnesota, where it's a low-level beef, the guy had a brake light out, and all of a sudden he's dead. And that's what people are going, how can that happen? How can...
I'm not defending Minnesota. I don't know that I can. I don't know all the facts. But it doesn't matter if it's a low-level arrest or a high-level arrest. The minute an arrest takes place, it's a violent situation if the person doesn't completely submit. Because the police officer becomes nervous about...
Yeah.
So right. The answer is, if the police officer tells you put your hands up, put your hands up.
That is the answer. But if it doesn't happen, I think restraint has to be taught.
Absolutely right. And we tried to teach them that. But if you've ever been in these situations, emotions take over.
Absolutely. That's what happened in Ferguson.
And some police officers are excellent at it.
And some aren't.
And some aren't. Right. Most of them are excellent at it.
Now, we have coming up after you the head of the D.C. branch of the NAACP. He's been sympathetic to Black Lives Matter. My posture is that Black Lives Matter is exacerbating racial tensions here. And by the way they're going about their protesting, they're making things worse rather than better. Whereas Martin Luther King, you could see how he was trying to make things better. These people aren't, in my opinion. Where do you come down?
Well, I agree with you completely. I mean, of course Black lives matter. But so do blue lives, police officers. So do white lives and Asian lives and Hispanic lives. And all lives matter. And if Black Lives Matter was truly concerned about black lives, they'd be concerned about black crime. Because although there are some of these incidents that are indefensible by police officers, they are statistically minuscule in comparison to the enormous amount of murder that takes place, black on black.
Yeah, and we're seeing that in Chicago.
And Black Lives Matter is non-existent when 7 blacks are killed over the weekend
Even
in
worse
Chicago.
Than that.
You know who were there trying to stop that? The police officers who get killed.
Sure. But it's even worse than that with Black Lives Matter. They're protesting right this second in front of the White House. But are they protesting the terrorist who killed the 5 police officers? No. There's not one sign in that whole crew about, you know what, we got to stop these haters from doing that. Nothing.
Well, I have no doubt that my policing strategies, Bill Bratton, Howard Saver, Bernie Kerik, Michael Bloomberg, and Ray Kelly, saved more black lives than any Black Lives Matter movement ever saved.
That's because you brought down crime in the poor black neighborhood. Right.
By the thousands.
Right.
Bill. I came in and there were 1,924 murders, and I left Mike with 500, and Mike got it down to 300. Just think over those years how many black people we saved, since 70% of the people killed in New York City are killed.
But the police haters say
blacks and by other blacks.
The police haters say it's not because of the police. They came down for other reasons. The police didn't have anything to do with that. Those are what the police haters say.
Well, the police haters are wrong. I mean, police officers Lou and Ramos, who were assassinated here in New York City, were protecting a black housing development where there was too much crime. And one, by the way, was Asian and the other was Hispanic.
Right.
And they were there trying to save black lives. And in fact, New York City police officers over the last 20 years have saved more black lives than any police department in the United States.
Does President Obama have a point when he brings the gun issue to fore, when he makes that the central issue rather than terrorism? Does he have a point?
No. Guns don't kill, people do. And when people don't have guns, they use bombs. And when they don't have bombs, they use knives. And when they don't have knives, they use other devices. We can see that. We had massive killings in Brussels and Paris, very, very strong gun control laws. Here's a perfect comparison. New York City has very strong gun control laws. Chicago has very strong gun control laws. Chicago has 3.5 times the murders of New York. So tell me gun control has something to do with reducing murder.
Yeah,
it does not.
It's how it's enforced.
Effective policing, taking the guns out of the hands of the bad guys, is how you stop.
Drive it down.
And second, good community relations and trying to have a representative police department. And I am very proud of the fact that the New York City Police Department is a non-majority white police department, and I had something to do with that, but so did my two predecessors and my successors.
Okay. Now, 30 seconds, you're trying to help the families of the killed police officers in Dallas. Tell us.
TunnelToTowers.org is an organization that raised the money to pay for the mortgages for officers Lou and Ramos when they were assassinated. They have opened a website. They're an organization that began with September 11. Administrative costs are almost nothing. All the money goes to the police officers.
Mm-hmm.
And if people would contact TunnelToTowers.org or call 1-844-BRAVEST and make a donation, that money will go directly to the police officers' families. When September 11 happened, I started an organization to raise money for all my police officers and firefighters. We raised $224 million, and it all went to those families.
All right.
Every single penny.
TunnelToTowers.org.
Perfect place to do it. We're going to have a big press conference tomorrow, and
all right.
We want to help these families.